Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Quantic's Fireside Chat 101, where we bring you industry leaders to discuss the industry challenges and to share their views on how they are tackling the current situation. So, with us today, we have Mr. Samrat Ghosh, the head of supply chain, Welspun Group, and Mr. Sanket Sheth, the founder and managing director for Elixia Tech. Over to you, Mr. Sanket Sheth.
Yeah, hi. Thanks a lot for the introduction, and thank you, Alish and Contact India, to give this opportunity for me to talk to um Samrat and take this way ahead. I'm Sanket Sheth, founder of this company called Elixia Tech, and we mainly digitalize supply chain processes. And I'm glad to introduce Samrat. He has like about 15 plus years of experience in supply chain, expertise in demand planning, demand forecasting, and supply planning. Also, he has worked in big giants like HUL, General Mills, and now Welspun. So I welcome Samrat to this session, and I would just want to casually, if it would be great if you can introduce yourself to everyone, and then we'll take it up from there on. Samrat.
Thanks, Sanket. Thanks. Yeah, sure. So, as you rightly said, I've spent a decent amount of time to understand, learn, and appreciate the discipline of supply chain. And I was fortunate and privileged enough to work with some of the great companies, which I would always say are kind of the powerhouse of knowledge. And then I got some time to implement those learnings as we go along, working in a couple of startups, and then again back to Welspun heading the supply chain function. But a very exciting time, I must say.
Sure. Now, the time is exciting, but at the same time, it's tough situation going on. It's been, last 6 months we have been struggling to go out. Of course, there is a bit of leeway for the past, 1 month or so. But then during COVID times, it's like a terrible situation. But we would want to know your views. What exactly did you think as soon as COVID started? And now after 6 months, how do you see supply chain shape up in whatever field? I just want to know your thoughts as such.
Yeah, and Sanket, absolutely. When I said exciting in the corporate lingo, challenging means exciting, right? So
Of
people
course.
don't say it is tough; it is challenging. Things are breaking down. They will just say it's so exciting, right? So that's how I introduced. But yes, as exciting it is, it's very challenging. We started this year with a lot of hope and with a lot of assumptions, right? As we always build in your business plans and you take budgets and everything, and then something like COVID happens, and then you have to go back to your drawing board, not once, twice, probably million times, to revet that numbers and say, "Ki, what we thought, does it hold true now? Does it hold true tomorrow?" Uh, Today we are in a situation wherein we can at least we can see people on the road, we can see shops opening up, you can put some understanding of looks like things are getting better, but with still a fear in your heart that don't know what is going to happen if something again comes up and some number starts increasing like it has been. But back in April, it was like a crystal ball. You take a dart and throw it in a dart board, and if you don't know, which you don't know because how COVID is going to react, you might not hit the bullseye. So we started making a lot of plans. We did understand the gravity of the situation, and though I handle the India business, but then production and everything is linked to the export business as well. So imagine when the orders were getting cancelled from the US, when big retailer giants who are our customers have uh, uh, stopped stocking because they were not sure of the demand. They didn't know when the consumers will come out. And
Correct.
guess what? Again, in a month's time, things just go in a totally opposite direction where people flock in huge numbers and shelves go, toilet papers go out of stock, you have towels going out of stock, and demand start increasing again. So at one point of time, when we started cutting down the demands and we started cutting down production, uh, till last month we were in a situation that, and we are still that plants and everything is working over capacity, which is a great news because we have a lot of orders with us and the company is doing fantastic. But we also have to manage the supply chain challenges by going outside and getting stuff done, outsourcing. A lot of stuff is getting done by our esteemed vendors and everyone, so it's a collaborative journey.
Sure, yeah. So that's good. I mean, that brings me to a point wherein your expertise lie as well. So the first step when we talk about supply chain is obviously orders coming in from customers, or the demand as such, and it's very unpredictable and very tough to crack the nut of demand forecasting as well. And people are talking day in and day out about how exactly do we forecast demand and all. So. So leave aside COVID, but otherwise, how do you foresee demand planning and forecasting to shape up, and what tools do people use to actually forecast, and how exactly does your expertise help in building a good forecasting tool?
Absolutely, forecasting is the key. Um we did face a lot of, as I told you, nobody could predict the orders. So when we talk about forecasting, and forecasting is, mm, I would say, not very new, not very old. So during early 2000s is where the forecasting concept started catching on to a lot of companies. The big giants started implementing it. I remember when I was with Unilever in 2006. That time onwards, we started implementing demand planning and forecasting, right? And we still see people are in the journey of implementing. So this will go for quite some time, because as people move forward, people are understanding the value of demand planning and forecasting, because it starts all with the demand. You get the demand right, of course, with a caveat, I must say that it is very difficult to get the demand right. So the process of demand planning and forecasting is critical. At least you have a demand. It might be wrong, it might be right, but at least you have it. And
But
then you,
sorry, but then what do you do, especially when you see such uncertainties like COVID coming up and you already have a plan ready, maybe
right,
for the next 12 months? And if such uncertainty comes up, how do you handle such situations?
absolutely. Then your usual thought process of demand planning has to change. You have to think out of the box, because earlier you were thinking, oh, I have a 2 years of historical forecast, I will put some statistical models on top of it, I'll run from some nice alpha betas and gammas, and I'll get a good baseline. On top of that, I'll lay down my future plans. That's what happens in a typical demand planning scenario. And with that, you add machine learning, artificial intelligence, all of those great stuff to modify it further. Here what happened, till March, you had some demand line coming in, and after that, zoop, everything is gone. Your statistical models are gone for a toss. You don't know anything what is going on in the market. So then it comes down to a different way of demand planning, probably which people don't even witness a lot, apart from these situations, wherein the Delphi method, wherein you come down to the table, understand how much of sales pickup is happening on a daily basis at a store level. Okay, if there are stores you are servicing or distributors you're servicing, you start tracking that secondaries a lot more than what you used to, and understand the actual pickup which is happening, understand the trend which is happening, and based on that fresh trends of say 5 days, 10 days, 15 days, 20 days, you start building up your demand. So
Sure.
you have to be so very responsive, and you know that you can fail again, because those demand can be, because the pipeline was empty, people started flocking, like what happened in ecom. uh, we started selling 10 times more than what we used to sell anytime in ecom. But again, it could be because the pipeline is empty, or there could be a genuine demand of it. So it's difficult. There is no easy answer, but then you have to go through the grill of doing it on a daily basis.
Correct. Now, moving on from demand to supply as such, because that is where my strength also lies with regards to technology, especially outbound dispatches or goods in transit as such. What do you see? How do you control costs, or how do you control the visibility for movement of material from, say, factory to depots, or from depots to distributor? What exactly have you done there?
You know, one blessing during the COVID period was that we got some time to focus on and get down to the basics, understanding that okay, we got some time now. Okay, how can we make ourselves more market ready. And when I say market ready with the help of digital, right? You can't just be, so because you're sitting at home, it's more important that you don't know where your truck is going.
Of course.
So a couple of good things what we have done during those times, during April, May, and June, is that we quickly, in a very hustling mode, we kind of got our control towers ready. Okay,
Okay.
so again, we can have variety of control towers. They could be ready-made ones available in the market, or you can make onto your own. So we kind of built it from the scratch. We use tools like Power BI and other solutions to kind of get our control towers ready, wherein you can track kind of if I have an API with my transport providers, be it courier mode or a full truck mode.
Hmm.
I get the APIs, I get to know exactly where my shipments are, number one. But tracking is just the first step. As you rightly said, supply chain, one very important thing is cost, right? So,
Correct.
how do I control my costs? Are my lanes correct? Okay, can I do some uh, direct shipment to a Delhi location and then have milk runs from there rather than doing the couriers directly from the source? Then you save a lot on your first mile. So there are a lot of tips and tricks which we try and do every time. But we are evolving. Uh,
Correct.
are we there yet where we have a completely automated system telling us, we just sit down and it tells us that, hey, do this, do that, and you are done? I think we are headed there, but not yet. But it has been a long journey, and it's rewarding so far.
Sure. So from what I understand, you get alerts like for be it stoppages or be it delayed deliveries, or you get to know the estimated time of arrival for the vehicles reaching destination, and your network is pretty optimized. But then the decision making is still manual, which means as soon as you get alerts, you still are taking decisions, bringing in manual intervention or relying a bit on Excel sheet and half-baked automation to make decisions. So I believe that is where the automation needs to be full-fledged, and that is what even surprisingly Elixia is focusing on. And there are several customers Elixia has actually automating or digitalizing. We call it soft bots. Soft bots are robots making decisions or system making decision, and there is no manual intervention required at all. So that is what even we are
Exactly.
focused on. So yeah, so that's good to know. That's good to know. um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Also, any innovative ideas you have implemented by far, considering be it SNOP or be it demand side of supply chain as well. So in supply chain, is there something innovative you have done in last 6 months?
So the season is approaching. Okay, we usually for retail, usually for manufacturing and a consumer setup, we all know that how important season plays. Okay, Diwali is a big chunk of a season where probably 30-40% of your volume goes there, right?
Right.
We missed Rakhi. People were still at home. Okay, there were some other festivals during the start of the financial year. Till now, people were still at home and they didn't go out. This is one moment which we cannot miss. Not only we, I think the entire industry is looking forward to, be it FMCG, FMCD, or textiles or apparels. Everybody is looking forward to Diwali.
Correct.
Now, how can we not miss something during so important time as Diwali, right? Again, how can we more market ready? So I can quote an example of a war room concept, okay,
Hmm.
which we did last year. We got fantastic results. We are doing it this year as well, with some code name. But the essence and the idea is that you have a physical war room, okay, in your be it a warehouse or a transport location, wherever you are. So we have it in our warehouse, and you have various charts, graphs, everyday monitoring of steps, and also certain understanding of where are we more likely to fail, okay,
Correct.
and have a very kind of war room kind of a meeting wherein everyone comes into one place, talks about each of the KPIs, talks about what is going to happen, where are we more likely to fail, and come up with a solution and leave the room, and then go back to work, right? So when you are on top of everything, then you got to perform a little better than what you are, rather than surprises coming and hitting you. At least you know them ahead of time. Yeah.
Sure, that's very interesting of you. I have been hearing about war rooms. I mean, it's been like a year or so from a lot of supply chain heads, but glad that you have started implementing it as well. Maybe spending like 30 minutes daily, or maybe an hour daily, fighting and ensuring that things are pretty much in line. And that is what usually logistics and supply chain is. So that's very
Absolutely.
interesting concept you have implemented. So I mean, kudos to you for that. So, and finally, we just want to know any problems you are facing at this stage in your SNOP, or things are pretty fine. Uh,
It's never fine. There are problems, and we live with problems. And I think supply chain folks are have got to live with it all throughout. Otherwise, yeah. So it's too good to be true. So you know, problem stems from the demand. Okay, everywhere. What will the customers take? Because what they take is what we make with a little bit of buffer. Now, if we get it wrong, somebody else wins in that space. So, and if we want to make it right, then there are problems because you got to achieve something which could be done in 3 months, and you are saying no, since I was not able to focus better or something. Now I have to make it in 1 month. So that's where the fire steps in. So you have to produce fast, in-house, outsource somewhere. You've got to be very, very innovative in terms of what your customer offerings are, what is the mood of the customer, what are the designs, what are the combo offerings I can give in this space. Can I put in a mask? So by the way, Welspun, in the last couple of months, we have geared up and we have started a completely new domain from being zero, nowhere, to a domain as Welspun Health, wherein we produce all different type of masks, be it the wearable, be it the N95 respirators, or you have your usable and washable masks. So in this time frame, we really got to move fast on the production, see as much as we can, ramp that up, cut down our transport costs, okay, cut down our transport times, and also the warehouse efficiency. All of these will finally help us get the stock to the customer's doorstep. Any of these thing fails or takes the time, no matter how good the other one performs, uh, this will not be done.
Sure. We can ideally go on and on with regards to the discussion on supply chain as such, but then respecting the time and this being a fireside chat,
Absolutely.
we might have to conclude. So thanks a lot for spending time, maybe 15-20 minutes. The discussion was very fruitful and there's a lot to learn from you. And we'll definitely be in touch with you. Thanks a lot. The Quantic India team to give us the opportunity to do this session. It's always a good idea discussing with supply chain experts. Thank you all. Thanks.
Thank you, Quantic India and Sanket. Thanks for hosting this. I think it was lovely spending the time with you and sharing some of the thought processes going on.
Same here, sir. Be in touch. Thank
Sure.
you.
Thanks. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.